Good day and I love you. I'm Heather Peterson Lockhart and I am the Chieftess. Listen to these birds. I have quite a story for you, and since I don't know where to begin, I'm just going to start. I asked myself, how do you tell a story like this? And then self said, one word at a time. So I'm just gonna chat tonight and give myself the freedom to be all over the map and ask for your understanding if that's the case, and I'm sure I'll calm down as I go on. It's remarkable how balanced my voice is today. Wow. So I'm going to talk tonight for as long as I'm lit. How about that? Okay, I have an anniversary coming up, so I thought it might be good to start here. I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic, and whenever I share my story, for a long time I found it interesting that each time I would tell the story, the time in which I felt I became problematic in my life got earlier. And now I think that I was born soul carrying X amount of karma and soul carrying X amount of destiny, and I was given in sovereign contract, all parties agreeable, to two beautiful human beings that had a whole lot of smorgasbord. Like, they had quite a contrast of behaviors, and I chose to own some of the behaviors and not some of the behaviors, as with all of my teachers and caregivers. And the particular mosaic that I designed was problematic. I had like big pieces of poor self-worth, a great big part of just lack, like, you know, the world's not capable or something, like a whole bunch of sketchy stuff that big scared child is like this whole area, piece like this, wrap around front and back. Yeah. I had a combination where I was just a really scared human, afraid to know myself, and I feel all twisted, and literally, and afraid to let you know me. So I created a character, growing up with like a big voice. I escaped in athletics. I remember thinking a lot as a kid. I just remember being super cerebral and feeling like I didn't fit in, and like I was alien in nature. Come to find out, like, most of us feel that way. Welcome to humanity. This will be your ride. Focus. I was not into drugs and alcohol as a teenager. I was into sports. I was a pretty girl. I was good at sports. I was too worried about you thinking ill of me to act a fool. I was too worried about you thinking anything of me. I was always worried about what you were thinking of me. And I realize now as I'm telling you this that I had already put away the passions of my really childhood. Because like when I was really little, I was a really passionate kid. Like, I used to design shirts and educate people about the destruction of the Brazilian rainforest and debt for nature swaps, Dr. Thomas Lovejoy, things like this as a kid. Like, these were just my passions. I was totally about the earth. I was about harmony with Gaia. I was about living as a community differently than we do now. I was very interactive in that way. But by teenage years, I want to be this thing that's perfect, that you look at and think is perfect. So I don't have my passions, or at least if I do, I don't act on them. Oh, there's a whole bunch of vultures above me. And then the first time I drank was in high school, and I knew when I fell down the steps of my parents' house after taking a sip of every bottle in their liquor cabinet that the gates of heaven had opened and the songs of Shangri-La were happening. Like, I fucking love smacking the pavement. That completely out of control. How's that for crazy, huh? Yeah, that shit was for me all the way. But at the same time, I liked the feeling of it, but I didn't like being that control in front of others and not being able to turn off when I wanted to be, you know, out of control and stuff. So, I didn't really drink too much through high school. After that, I started drinking alcoholically and doing drugs. Let's see here. I became a meth head when I was, I haven't thought about all this in a really long time, and I really wasn't going to go back for all this, honestly. So here's the stuff that's going through my head. Should I really tell them all this stupid stuff, or should I just get more current? Because and see, this is what I said I was going to give myself the freedom of, but this is what I'm doing. So let's make a decision together. How about that? I'm just going to fucking talk, and now I can fucking relax. Hey. Okay. $17, 18 years old, I start doing that. I move out of my parents' house at 17, not getting along with my parents. I live with my boyfriend who's 24 for a bit, and then I get my own apartment. I graduate high school at semester because I had enough credits after moving around as a military kid. So I was out of high school. I think I was done when I was 17, and then I lived in this apartment with my friend, and we did meth. And I had a boyfriend that was in the Air Force Academy, and he had no idea. And I would stay high Monday through Friday and then come off that mess on the weekends. And it was funny because I was like this big, you know, and all his friends were like, I would eat. I forgot that part. I would come off of it on the weekends, and then I would eat. And all his friends were like, man, that girl can eat. But they didn't know that, like, I hadn't eaten all week long, you know? So I did that for a while, and I hung with this girl. We modeled, professional runway modeling, and some print work. And she was 10 years older than me. I'm 19 at this point. And at 29, she was feeling like her life was over. Like, what are you going to do with yourself after 29 with this career? And she was just like a mess because we were both heads. And she didn't have anything else going for her. Where for me, that was a season. I mean, I was hanging out with people that were 10 years older than me, and we were in fucking chaos. Like, I mean, I have story after story, and I won't go there, but like, I remember this is a crew of people that, like, one time on a holiday, we were at a bar, and this dude got in a fight, and he held a cue ball in his hand when he hit another dude in the head, and he cracked his skull. And I could hear it when it happened, and I knew when the dude fell. And so when the dude fell, I put him between my legs. I was trying to hold on to him. I see he was shaking and shivering, and he didn't speak English. His girlfriend didn't speak English. So I was trying to tell her to come lay on top of him, and we were trying to stop him from bleeding. This was just like, you know, that's like the normal chaos that happened with these type of people. Shit was really out of control. And I was getting kind of done with that. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want my life to be over at 29 and me to be in bar fights. hitting people with cue balls and the authorities showing up, you know, people bleeding out between your legs. So I woke up one day and decided to quit meth. And I did do that geographical stuff. I changed locations, I changed friends, I changed habits. And then shortly after that, I guess Spirit sort of helped me because I got in a car accident. I was in a little Subaru Justy, and I got hit head on by a full-size Chevy 4x4 truck, and knocked into next week. And I didn't remember, I don't know, 6 months to a year of my life. I didn't really know what was going on when I, like, came to, so to speak. So, I had to, I remember I wasn't doing well. I couldn't take care of myself. Like, I just wasn't all there, you know what I mean? But I didn't know I was all there. Like, when someone's not there, they don't know it. You know, like, I didn't know that I was lacking the proper, I didn't know I wasn't processing well. I didn't know that, like, my, cognition of events and processes was lacking. Until I did. And then I had to call my parents, and they lived in Springfield, Virginia at the time. And so I came to live with my parents. And that was going to fix everything. And I got on Prozac because I was depressed. And all that shit made me do was be unable to eat, which I loved, you know, and make me even more depressed. So now I'm ultra skinny, hella depressed. And I'm still in that time of life, so I seek out all the people who are doing the stupid shit, even more so, because now my head is like a mess. And I remember I have a younger brother, and I was spending time with kids his age, and he was kind of like, "What's your deal?" Because I was never like that before. I was like, my shit doesn't stink, and anyway, it was just a very different way I saw myself and like who I would hang around and things I would do with these people. And so even my brother was like, "Dude, what's up with you?" And I just wasn't right. I wasn't right in the head. So let's see here. I'm 19, I'm 20. 20 is a shit show. I'm enrolled in college. I go to a few classes and I play soccer. In fact, that's probably one of the best experiences of my life at that time. I play soccer with all men at that school. We just play right there, you know what I mean? Like, we just play in between classes and stuff. Or some of us play through classes. And the field is filled with Africans and Arabs and Persians and Latinos. There's like one American white boy and one American black boy. I don't remember any Asians. But it was just like everybody on this field and so many languages, and you're still playing the same game. And I was a really good player because they weren't gonna like tolerate my like if I wanted to play like a girl, get treated like a girl, then I was in the wrong place. They're pretty clear about that. So I got a lot of culture those years in school, I remember, because I got to spend time with people from a completely different part of the world. I had friends that were from Lebanon, and they would take me to these Arabic clubs and try to teach me to dance. Like, one would have my arms and one would try to move my hips while one tried to move my arms. Like, I can do it now, but I couldn't do it before. And They would take me to their homes, and their families would feed me, and I would get to know about their families and their cultures, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of the most beautiful, times in my life in that way, but I don't remember a lot of the classroom. Let's see here. Then I started working I turned 21, and I graduated to the big leagues. I start cocktail waitressing at a nightclub in Washington, D.C. And that shit was live. We were on a live block. People were live. Bartenders were live. We worked during the day. The bartenders from around the surrounding bars would come in like towards the end of our shift and have a few drinks before they went to start their own shift, right? So we would serve them, and like they'd have no tab, you know what I mean? So they would tip us. So then we would go return the favor when we got off work and go visit their bars and sit there when we got off work and drink for free and then tip them, you know? And mind you, a lot of us were having a drink the second we got to the bar, and then we were drinking all through our shift, and we had a drink behind the bar. So I have an idea of how much alcohol I was consuming then, because I specifically remember one time I worked in this club, and the way you got the best sections was to sell the most drinks. The way you sell the most drinks is to hustle drinks. One really good way is to hustle drinks is to bet someone that you can outdrink them, and they have to pay your tab. And if you bet me, you're in trouble. So I remember that I had the potential for 25 cash and carry tabs, and I drank 16 shots of tequila with this man, and I had a drink behind the bar with my bartender. And then we went out afterwards. It's during that time that I experienced the first time at 21 or 22. Oh my God, wait. Yeah, because this story gets better. It's got to be at 21. It's at 21 years old that I experienced massive issues from detoxing off alcohol and from consuming alcohol. And I don't know it. At one point, one morning, I wake up and I think I'm having breathing issues, and I think I'm having like an allergic reaction to something, and I go to the doctor, and they're like, well, all the normal questions. Are you doing anything different? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. And then they give me a nebulizer treatment. That doesn't help me, everything to calm down any sort of allergic reaction. And then the lady's like, well, are you stressed out? I'm like, I don't think so. And she says, well, we're gonna give you this, and you just stay here for a little bit. We'll see if this calms you down. And she probably gave me an Ativan or something, I don't know. But anyway, I was like, oh my God, I'm fine. And then she's like, yeah, that's what, you're having some anxiety issues. But then I was, of course, like, well, this is just because of my life, or whatever. I don't even know. But it definitely wasn't because I was drinking copious, ridiculous amounts in a day. So 21 is just crazy. I don't know if I want to discuss 21 on, I was about to say on tape. I told you how old I am. That's funny. On video. Let me see here. Let me think about where I am, and I will turn a light on because I do want to get through one little. This is the B4, and I want to get finished with this part before I start another video. Okay. So I'm 21, and I'm pretty much doing what I want to do with whoever I want to do it in whatever way I want to do it. That's the bottom line. And in my relationships, I'm straight up with it. I'm like, hey, I do whatever the fuck I want to do, and that's just where I'm at. And I got pregnant, and it was just like that. I wasn't trying to get pregnant. I had not decided that this was what I wanted to do. In fact, quite the contrary. I got pregnant and I was devastated. And so my response to that was to go out and to get as fucked up as I could so that I would solidify my fate and have to make a choice about that baby. I drank as much as I could, I snorted cocaine, and I smoked as many Marlboro Reds as I could stomach. And what happened was the next day, I was more ill than I think I've ever been in my entire life. And it's funny because you really don't remember pain if you've ever been through childbirth, or you would never do it again. But I remember how sick I was. I couldn't move. I mean, I was just like, good God. Like, I don't know. It's like every one of my cells knew I had fucked up in a way you just don't do. And, or that was wrong for me, I'll say that. I just hated everything about what I had done and who I was. So I decided in that moment that I wouldn't do that again. And that I would see what was up with this baby. And so I went to the doctor. I was like an hour or so late because I had to pull over and puke 5 times on the way there. And so when I got there and told her about how I was feeling, what was going on, she was like, well, I think I have a surprise for you. And she gave me, you know, an internal sonogram, and then she goes, yeah, there's your baby, and there's your baby. And I was like, oh, shit. I was 22 years old, and I was not ready to be pregnant, and I was pregnant with twins. I have grace for myself as I tell this today. Sweet Jesus. So, I stayed sober throughout my pregnancy. I took great care of myself throughout my pregnancy. But they were big babies, and I was pretty much, like, my body was in labor from, like, if I remember correctly, like 5 months on. So I was on bed rest earlier than that. I had a pump in my leg. I got to hook myself up to these non-fetal stress tests at night and send the message to the fax machine. And I was like on a first name basis with the ER to the point where like I would go in and I'd be like, are you gonna let me have them? And they'd be like, not yet. I'm like, I'm going home. And so I got induced at 36 weeks with 6 and 7 pound twins that were beautifully healthy and just incredible, absolute gifts. They were so perfect, like I was afraid to touch them. I remember calling my mom and being like, you gotta give her a bath because what if I break her? So I breastfed my girls for 4 months. And at that point, I had really had enough. I was exhausted and I was getting like edgy. And I just, like, they were getting, like, every time they wanted to eat, I was like, and so my mom was like, you know what? I think it might be time to introduce some formula because you did a great job. But, so I share this all because that was my gateway to start drinking again. Because then I didn't have that thing in my head that anything I put into my mouth was going to go into them. So as I remember, it didn't take me very long. You know, I was just going to drink a little bit, you know, I mean, well, maybe you don't know, but I had all the moderation rules that were going to happen that didn't happen. And then I was a full functioning alcoholic again before too long. their dad and I split up when they were like, I think like 8, 9 months old. That was tumultuous. I was totally actively alcoholic. He was actively psychotic. I laugh about that now. He would laugh about that now. We're cool with each other. At my family get-togethers, just so you know where it is now, like everybody's there. Everybody's there. We were just nuts. We were nuts. He was in this phase where he was like, if I can't have her, no one can type deal. So we did that dance with the, and I mean, I did my part too. This story is so scandalous. It's so heinous. I did my part. I don't know if I should, maybe I should just save some of that stuff for the book. I not only did my part by being actively alcoholic, I did my part by entertaining, we'll put it this way, relationships with people that were, oh Jesus. It's not that I mind telling you what I did. It's that I don't want to say anything that is compromising to anyone else. So let me just say that my behavior was rank. And I was flagrantly alcoholic. I mean, honestly, I was not lying when I said no. I really did not have a clue how out of control I was. I look back on it now, thinking about it now, I'm like, sweet Jesus, I had babies. Because I'm a completely different person now. I mean, like, I was a train wreck. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I mean, I remember where I was, but there was something I wanted to say about that. Oh, I don't know. Just that, like, oh yeah, no, I really didn't realize how alcoholic I was, or how out of control I was. Because I had my own bullshit story, and I was very much in the pathology of my active alcoholism and addiction, and poor me, and if you had my life, you would do what I was doing also. Do you know what I mean? This angle makes my face look so gaunt, and I find it distracting, and I want to move the camera, but I'm not going to take the time to do it right now. Did you hear that dog laugh back at me? So we get in the court system through domestic abuse, and that's the start of it. You know, the kids become pawns. We become frequent flyers in the Montgomery County, hey, my turn. Montgomery County family court system. It's interesting too, because that is a fucking circus. And I was represented by a law firm that is no longer in business. It was a great big law firm. And it is no longer in business because of their dealings in the family law court. I don't remember how many years we were in court, but we were in court for, I want to say 2 years, maybe. It could be 3. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, to the tune of $100,000. And nightmare behavior in front of my children. What else? I don't know. Oh, DCS being involved, like all just like, you know, just crazy shit. I'm trying to think about that time. So, then in 2010, hold on. Okay, 2000. Okay, so yeah, I'm in, now, let's see here. I get involved in, no. That stuff comes to a close. I think, oh yeah, that's what it was. I move away, and no, that's not the order it went in. Hold on, I almost feel like I have to pause this to get this straight. Not that it really matters. Hold on. Hold. Nope, that's correct. Okay. I get a DUI in 2001. And then I have to go to I get an interlock put on my car. I've never had any violations before this. Never had a speeding ticket, any kind of traffic issue, nothing. And I have to go to jail for 5 days. Oh, I'll tell you the story about being arrested for a DUI on another time. If you guys are interested in that, note it in the comments and I'll make a special thing about it. It's quite the entertaining story. So thought the jail and the cops. Anyway, my behavior. I got arrested. I blew a .24, and I got an interlock system on my car for a year. I got put in these mom substance abuse classes, and then I got awarded to ASAP classes and mandatory AA. And so I started going to that stuff as much as I had to, but I wasn't in with it. You know what I mean? Wasn't into it. It's somewhere shortly after that I meet the guy that I'm going to start dating for the next 8 years. So we'll just say this for that. Excuse me. Of the 8 years, for 6 I was using and drinking, and I was an absolute and total train wreck. And I was violent and out of control in front of my children multiple times, putting faces, having my face put in the wall, you name it. We were just crazy. And the sickness was thick in that relationship. And so I have story after story after story. I'll give you highlights. I was the type of alcoholic that used to just take off on my family. I would tell them that I was gonna go smoke a cigarette, or get a pack of cigarettes, or get something to drink, or go to the car, or forget to check this, or you name it, and I would just disappear for 1 or more days. My kids cried themselves to sleep multiple times without me being there. I used to jump out of cars if you pissed me off. I think the highlights are one time I was acting unruly. I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but my boyfriend at the time had called the police, and he didn't know, but I knew I had a warrant for my arrest. I wasn't trying to get locked up that day. I had a new bottle of vodka. So we lived in a townhome. So on the 3rd story where we had our kitchen, there was a little breakfast bar. So when the cop came to the door, I had put on my running gear, and I just walked up there, and both my girls, who were probably 6 years old at the time, were sitting at the breakfast bar, and I gave them each a kiss and said, "Mommy loves you." And then I opened up the sliding glass door, and I jumped over the 3rd story railing into a perfect little dive roll, because I don't know how long I'd been drinking for at that time. And then I just jogged off. So when he came upstairs with the police officer, he asked the kids, "Where's your mom?" And they were like, "She jumped." So Prince William County Police called me the jumper after that. One time, my mother and that same fiance did a TDO on me, which is called a temporary detaining order. So I thought I was coming for a meeting, and I was lit. I don't know how long I'd been lit for. When I used to first start drinking, I would just get drunk, you know, like once, and then it started turning into more. Then I would bite what bit me in the morning, and then I would go on benders for days. Sometimes just a couple days, but it tickled, felt like something was in my ear. And then towards the end, I went on benders for 10 to, I think the longest was 14 or 16 days at the very end. And I would not eat, I would just drink. So I'd lose a bunch of weight. People would call me the sickest healthy person they know, because I would like be all like, da, 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 super healthy fitness chick. And then I'd be like, I have a stomach bug. Anyway, let me stay on track. Where am I? I need someone to tell me, and I can't stop. Well, I could stop this and run it back, but hold on. Oh, I know what I was gonna tell you. So, I think that I'm going for a meeting, and I've been drinking for quite some period of time. And so I go for this meeting, and I meet my mom and my fiance and this, I don't know, it's probably like a social worker or something. I don't know. And I think that I don't want to hear what they have to say. So I say, all right, well, I have to leave. Like, thanks. I got to go pick up the kids, because I had to pick up my kids from school. And they're like, you're not going anywhere. And so I got detained right then. And so I realized at that point there was no getting out of it. So I was like, well, might as well be cool with these cops, which is instrumental in my story, because I ride with these two sheriff deputies, and they're chill, they're cool. You know, we're just talking, like, we're talking nutrition, stuff like that. And they're like amused, I think, because I'm so cooperative and I'm so knowledgeable about nutrition, and I don't really seem like a heathen, you know. And like, then when we get there, I'm supposed to pee with the door open, and I cannot pee, you know. And I'm like, can I please close the door? Like, I swear to God, like, I understand, guys, I'm sleeping here, I'm not going home, there's no getting out of it, like, there's no reason for me to bullshit. And I just remember they were like, you can go ahead and close the door. And I just remember being so relieved. I thought that was such a grace they gave me. It's so funny, the things I remember now, right? And then it was a trip too, because, you know, I'm ultra sensitive and aware to vibrations, emotion, energy. And so I could tell that the officers, but especially one, hold on, I should save that part for a second. So after I get ready, bear with me. So they let me go to the bathroom in grace. And then when we go back into the room, the nurse comes in and she reads my blood alcohol level, and my blood alcohol level was 0.416. And of the two officers, I could tell this one found me very attractive. He was not inappropriate in any way. I could just feel his energy. He was very appropriate, very professional. But his energy changed in that moment as the nurse read my blood alcohol level, and he went from looking at me this one way to that of like a concerned dad. And I could see, it was like his whole face changed, his whole energy changed as she read my blood alcohol level. And he looked at me so compassionately, and he goes, are you okay? Because we'd been having these like very good articulate exchanges, you know. And I was like, yeah, I am right now, but I'm not going to be when I come off this. Because by that time, I had been through this process. They brought me to the detox facility. I had been through it enough to know how the numbers translated into the detox feeling in my body. Like 0.24, breeze. I could do that easy. By the way, I had detoxed myself at home multiple times. I had hallucinations multiple times and 2 full seizures. Just so you understand the gravity of what we're talking about. Like, I have stories for days, but they're not useful really right now, you know. So anyway, but I knew that .416 was really up there, and that I might not be okay this time when I was coming down. Like, I could feel one time before I had to call someone to take me to a detox, and it was a trip too, because I was fucking an active personal trainer, okay, with a legit personal training business and a really good reputation in my field. And I had to call one of my clients, or I chose to call one of my clients, and I was like, I need to go to a detox facility. And I knew, because that's what I told her. I was like, I know enough to know that with the way I feel, I don't think I can bring myself off this, and I'm tired of drinking. And I warned her too. I was like, I just need to warn you that when you see me like this, it's going to be a completely different ballgame than the way you usually see me, because I would lose a drastic amount of weight. I would lose it where I had purposely worked very hard to build up muscle. So I'd go from these like big full booming shoulders, this big beautiful rounded butt, to like looking like the clothes are falling off me. I would lose a whole lot of weight real fast, and I just people would tell me often that like I looked and sounded like a kid. I never saw myself in that state. I was never on video. Thank God. I was relieved. Excuse me, of the burden of self before I was into social media. Sweet Jesus. Go lay down. So, yeah, I knew that I couldn't come off that. And I remember that, you got yourself stuck, didn't you, silly? Hold on. Can you get through? There you go. I remember that detox that time was a lot. But I also remember that I think that was the same one that the lady that ran the detox was like, oh, the fit mama's here, which means y'all gonna have exercise classes in 3 days. I was in the detox facility enough that they like knew my process, y'all. My business was called Fit Mama Fitness. I went by the Fit Mama, and that was my deal. As soon as I started to feel better, I wanted to move around. I wanted to go help people, and it got to be like a science. I knew that the first day that I was there, I wouldn't be able to eat, and I would be throwing up and shitting myself, right? And then once I passed that, and I would still have the chills and the shakes and terrible anxiety for another day, and I would just try to get watered down, and I wouldn't really be able to eat anything because I wouldn't be able to hold a fucking spoon. And then the next day, I would barely be able to hold a spoon, and I would be able to have a minimal amount of nutrients, and I wouldn't throw up, and I would still shit myself, and I would shake less and have less anxiety, and like I would get that process down in my own self, and then in those I was observing. And so I would sit there and I would watch people, and I would think, tomorrow you'll be able to eat. And then sometimes I would help them once I was able to manage my own eating in my own body. I went through that process. For a really long time. I damaged everything around me to the nth degree. There was never too much physical pain for me. There was never... I cracked my skull open and had a bleed in my brain. I cracked my skull in front of my kids in a blackout. I still don't know to this day what I hit my head on. I wouldn't ask my kids either, and I think that, some of it, these stories are from when they were little. There's a lot of baggage attached to all of that. That's a whole nother story. The wreckage of the past. That goes on, and I can't remember if I'm getting arrested anymore then, but the benders get longer. I just get more destructive. You cross lines. I cross lines that say I won't cross. So for me, the final straw for me, the too much, that was so cool. The numbers were all aligned as I looked up and said that. The too much was when, okay, so it was spring break time, and I wanted to take the kids somewhere for spring break. I wanted to go to the beach. My boyfriend was like, we don't want to go to the beach with you because you fucking take off. Like you are a psycho. And I was like, I will not, you know, I'm doing better or whatever. I was always doing better. And the thing is, like, that cycle is vicious because a zillion plus one times when I came home and told him that I was truly sorry and I would never do it again, I was 100% telling the truth. The problem was I didn't have the tools to do anything different. I had the want and the desire, but of the same belief system, creating the same behavior, my reactionary responses were always going to be the same. And so I remember he asked me one time, do you even think about us, like me and the kids, before you go drink? And it was the first time that, like, the question had been posed to me point blank. And I remember being really surprised when I searched myself and I looked at him and I was like, no. Nope. Once I've locked onto that out for the discomfort that I'm experiencing, there's no, like, that's all I'm it's just me and that. I'm going to attain it. And the collateral damage doesn't occur to me, nor does it seem real. Not enough to be weighed upon. That's something that comes later in the recovery process, like when you learn to play the tape through, is what we used to say. Like, if I do this, this will happen. Well, that didn't happen for me back then. There was none of that. There was just, oh fuck, I'm feeling, oh fuck, I'm scared, oh fuck, I'm uncomfortable, oh fuck, let's get the fuck out of here. And that's all there was. So, so I wanted to take the kids on spring break, and he just really didn't want to deal with my bullshit, you know? Pretty scary deal. And so, I had been in detox in February. I remember. It was the last time I went to, well, what? You just did this. Come on, move. Let's go. I had been in February I had been in detox in February. And I remember that I stayed there the longest I could. Like, I was the one time I was always trying to get out of there so fast and, like, just get back to my life and go reset my life, and so nobody would know, and I could look perfect again and get it all together and fix it, you know? Well, this time I didn't want to fix it. I pretty much knew it was fucking broke. And so I remember I stayed in detox for 13 days, and they were like, you gotta go. Like, we can't find a way to keep you here any longer. Like, your insurance won't cover it. You gotta go. And I wanted to be there because I wanted to stay in the bubble, you know? Like, I wanted to be okay. And then I had stayed sober from February until April 1st. I was just really pissed off that he didn't understand me, and he didn't appreciate me. And so I remember being like, fuck him, fuck them, I'll just get drunk. And it'll be like April Fool's, it won't count. Ha ha ha. I remember giggling this stupid shit about it. So I got drunk and acted a fool. Like, went out and got trashed and stayed in the same clothes for like 5 days. I remember being at this place where I was like way out of place, being there with people I should not have been with. And the cops got called, and I had spilled like red wine, or probably was Mad Dog. It was probably purple Mad Dog, which is what I used to drink when I ran out of money and I couldn't get what I wanted. Ghetto. I had a white cream-colored cashmere sweater on, cream-colored long flared jeans, and I had spilt this freaking shit all over the front of me. And I remember the cops got called to this thing, and I clearly was like way out of, like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, like I was the white girl, and the cops are like, are you alright? Like, should you be here? And I was like, I'm fine, I'm alright. Like, aren't you asking me if I'm alright? Like, I just was a punk. And so I hung out with these people because that's all I could hang out with and get drunk and not take a shower and spill the shit all over myself and continue to party with me. And I think I got bored. And then I came home to an empty house. And I was surprised my house was empty and that no one was calling me. And then I found out that my boyfriend and my children had gone to the beach without me. And I was beside myself. How dare he? How dare them? Go when that's all I wanted to do to begin with, thinking that I would go get drunk like I did. So, to show him, I lit up a cigarette in our bedroom. And I smoked 3 cigarettes in our bedroom. And I was a smoker that hated the smell of smoke. Like, I was this anal retentive smoker that would, like, smoke like this and, like, spray my hands and wear a different sweatshirt so you couldn't smell it anywhere on me, and I wouldn't smell it anywhere on me. So after I finished those 3 cigarettes, I was like, dude, you just fucking smoked in your own room. You just shit where you sleep. Literally. And I called a friend of mine, and she was in a program of recovery. I had been sober before when she was not, and she and her brother were getting in the program, and then I'd been sober when we were all sober. We were all taking turns, I think, but I think she stayed sober the whole time. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't want to speak ill of her, but she was sober, and I had met her in the program, is my point. And she came over and sat with me and just talked with me until she was like, well, when I ain't drinking no more, so what are we gonna do? I was like, smoke cigarettes, fucking dinner. She's like, okay, if that's what you want to do, you go ahead. And sat with me, and then just like really like just let me just be a fucking infant. I haven't thought about this in so long. What a service she did for me. Because I was so toxic. And she was so level-headed. She was just like, well, girl, here I am, and you're not going to drink, and I ain't drinking with you, so. And then I decided I was a loser that night. I decided that was more than I could handle. I could handle any amount of physical pain. I could handle any amount of grown-ups being disappointed in me. I could handle any amount, apparently, of disappointment in myself, and crossing any lines and changing any sort of moral code that I thought I had for myself. But I could not handle the fact that my children had had enough of my bullshit and were going on in their life, and they didn't care if I was there for it. That was really the thing that broke my heart, literally. Like, it's the thing I couldn't take. It's the pain that I couldn't deal with. So I was like, well, fuck. I went to sleep without having another drink. And that was on April 4th of 2007. So on April 5th, I woke up having not had a drink. And I went to a meeting at a place that I have been going to meetings for 6 years. Court remanded and not. And like, I walked in, and there was a man there named Howard, who I knew, and I knew well, and he said, what's going on, Heather? And I said, I'm just trying so hard. And he goes, well, maybe you should stop trying, because your way's not working. And I sat at a table that day, and I listened unlike I had in the years before. I was too cool to sit there before. I used to make fun of that place. There was a disco ball in the middle, and they used to have like dances there and a live band and bingo, and I remember being like, I have fucking died and gone to purgatory when I came there with all these old people who play bingo, because I was like, you know, I'm the chick who has the cops park my car valet park my car when I go to clubs. Like, do you know who I am? And I knew I belonged that day when I sat in that chair. I knew that was my place and those were my people. And that they did, for the first time, had something I wanted. And it's not that I surrendered and decided that there was an easier, softer way. It's that I just fucking gave up. I just fucking gave up of trying it my way because my way wasn't working. It hadn't been working in a really long time. But evidence of it showing in my children literally giving up on me was the mortal no for me. That was the too much. Whew. Thank God. It's so funny. It's so funny that was it for me, because like I said, there was never going to be too much physical pain, but that degree of emotional pain was too much. So I sat in the meeting that day and I decided that I wanted to do things different. That began the day that I became willing to live in a different way no matter what. Like, absolutely no matter what. And it's a trip as I say that, as I begin this story. That's like there's your chapter 1. When I first, I don't know why. No, don't. Go. Not right now. When I first came into the program of recovery in which I am a part of, I just wanted to stop drinking and doing drugs. Actually, I didn't even want to stop drinking and doing drugs. I just wanted to stop putting my hands on people, having them put their hands on me, hating myself in the morning, being unable to look in my children's faces. I was just morally bankrupt. I didn't even aspire for a great life, or like I said, to say that I surrendered is to give me too much grace. I just got really tired of being sick and tired. That's my sobriety date, April 5th, 2007. Getting ready to come up on 17 years. And when I first came into this program, I just wanted to stop getting in trouble. And then it's funny because I shared in a meeting the other day, what does Maya Angelou say something about when you know better, you do better, something like that. Well, some 24 hours later, I have applied the principles of this program to every aspect of my life, past what most people think is possible, to be honest with you. I have jumped higher than most people I know with my faith and my radical application of the principles of this program. Because my God is so big, and my understanding of a happy, healthy life is so fucking grandiose. That I simply can't settle for less. And I also can't let myself live by less. So today, the way that I feel like I have to show up in honor of my own soul's growth and learning is a whole lot different than just don't drink and don't do drugs and don't put your hands on people. So I'm going to close this. That's divine timing. I'm going to close this for this first time, and I'm going to share it no matter what. And I'm just going to trust that all is as it's supposed to be. And I want to thank all of you who joined me in watching this. I also want to tell you that I've waited to share this story until I could come from a place of solution as opposed to sharing the problem. I don't think it's appropriate nor beneficial to share the problem unless you have a solution. And with my life, what's been true is that every problem that I've had, I've been the problem and I've also been the solution. That's what I learned in this fabulous program of recovery, that if I placed my own care and my own well-being and my own alignment, or my own, we could say that, my own alignment in line with a power greater than myself, that things would go better for me. And I do that today. And so I'm sharing because not only am I in the solution, but I understand that it's a challenging time on earth right now. And I had a convo. I wanted to share one more thing with you real quick. I had a convo with a beautiful man in my same program earlier, and he was saying to me, he's like, well, you look great. You look great. And I said, thank you. And we were talking about some situations that I will say are less than our choice ideal. I'll word them like that because I'm very selective with the words I want to put on a situation. So they're less than our ideal. That doesn't mean they aren't ideal. But anyway, they're less than he and I would choose. They're different, different than he and I would choose. And so in that, he was saying, I hear you, but you still look really good. And so I said to him, you know what, as you say that, it makes me go back to a time. It makes me go back to a time when, in 2017, when I was entering family court for the second time, for a different kid. And things were heinous, and my life was upside down, and I felt like I was drowning. And I went into my attorney's office, and she looked at me and she said, well, you look really good. And I said, thank you, but did you hear what I just said's going on? And she goes, you look really good though. And I felt like she was saying to me, I hear you, but you almost look too good for this to be that stressful to you. And I realized when I was talking to him today, I said, I realize what I'm really good at. I realize what I'm really good at today. I've become really good at learning how to live happy and healthy no matter what. No matter what. No matter what is going on in my life. No matter what spirit presents. No matter what kind of learning I am invited to greet. And that is the deal, by the way. What you think is on your plate that's all kind of hell right now is an invitation for your liberation. It just came in an envelope you weren't expecting. And I've been able to find the connection to that beautiful power greater than me and choose happy, healthy living no matter what. And that's what I'm really good at today. And so I'm grateful to share this story at a time when there's a lot changing on earth, and people think, when these things happen in your life sometimes, that it's so devastating and so bad. But the truth is, if we could suspend our human judgment and our finite understanding and simply trust that Spirit's hooking our asses up, we would diminish the struggle and make the outcome easier and better, faster. because that is the truth. But I know it doesn't feel like that. But it's been the truth in my life. Incidentally, Pluto moved into my sign the year after. I got sober right before Pluto was coming into my sign. And Pluto was just leaving my sign. And so this is an evolution in my life. And so my point is, when these things happen in your life and you have these massive shifts, that like a lot of times the chaos precedes, well, not a lot, often the chaos, precedes the glorious benevolent change. We wouldn't change if we didn't have the chaos. So I'm just grateful to share today, because I've had a fair amount of chaos in the last few years. I've also had an astounding amount of growth and possibility and magic beyond your wildest imagination occur. And all parties in my story are beautiful, and we all are growing and beautiful babies of God. So I trust that we're all good. Anyway, that's all I have for you this first time. Thank you for being here. I will start numbering these, and then you can watch from the beginning or pick up any sections that you miss. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then I will also put all of these in the village. If you're not in the village, come get in the village and come learn how to live in a happier, healthier way. Thank you for being here with me. I love you. I love you. I love you.